Hi everyone, I'm JBiz Hunts and welcome back to my channel. In this video, I want to share all my great one stories. I'm not a huge grinder like some of the great grinders in the community like Lady Legend or Scarecrow or iBuy. I have a full-time job, I have a young family, so for me when I get to grind, it's just for the enjoyment of it. So each one of my great ones has a story, and they're really special to me. So I started great one grinding by accident. I needed money. My intention was that I needed 16 tents for every map. So what was the easiest way to get cash? And I thought it was red deer grinding. They pay very well. They're easy to manage. You can set up your tents quite easily on Aotearoa, so that's what I did. And then when I was about 1,500 kills in, I was like, you know what? Maybe I should try to go for a great one. I saw a bunch in the community happening, and I knew it took forever, and I was already doing it anyway, so why not? So I was doing that for months, and come June of 2023, the Emerald Coast update was coming. And there was talks that red deer were going to get a remake and a remodel, and the potential to lose your herds because of a repopulation distribution was coming, right? So I thought, oh man, I'm going to have to grind hard or I'm going to lose all my herd managing. And I had surgery the week before the update, and I was hung up on my couch playing some extra hours that I don't normally get. And it was Friday evening before the Tuesday update, as EW likes to do Tuesday updates. And I said to myself, you know what, I'm going to shoot my last stacked diamonds. And if I don't get anything in these next few rotations, then I'm going to leave it be, and then I'm going to enjoy Emerald Coast coming out. I want to shoot kangaroos, and I want to, maybe try for a fallow great one. And I went and shot, I might have had 10 stacked. I shot maybe 6, and there was a few left over. When I get to my first zone after I culled the 6 diamonds, what do I see coming down the hill on my first zone is the great one red deer. And I almost jumped up and blew a couple of my stitches. But I was so excited. And that feeling of like accomplishment and seeing him come down the hill to join the herd, I can't even describe how excited I was. So I took my time, I enjoyed it. I was grinding with the Malmer 7mm, and I took him with the Malmer, and I took pictures of it all. You hear the great one music come when you harvest on the harvest screen, and I went back to my lodge, put him in a multi-mount with a piebald hind, and I took pictures there, and I was so excited, and it was like 10:30 at night, and I'm like, I can't go back to sleep. I'm going to go get the last of my diamonds, get them off my map. But when I was fast traveling in to the map, I had this feeling like, what if there was another red deer, great one? And I was like, I don't know why I had this gut feeling. And sure enough, I go to the next zone, and what do I see but another great one red deer? I literally spawned 2 in my grind. I was about 2,300 harvests in, because I wasn't really keeping track then, as it wasn't a thing for me at that time. So I always say that my first one was 2,300 kills, and my second one was basically 1. I don't know. They came from the same rotation. So that's my red deer great one story, that I got 2 of them at the same time, and I probably will never do a great one red deer grind again, because there's no different variations or anything. They all look the same, so I'm pretty happy with that. They look great in my lodge. My next great one grind was for the fallow great one, and it came after the Emerald Coast update. I saw with early access, a few of the content creators were having some difficulties with all the zones and how big Emerald Coast actually was. So I realized quickly that I wanted to do mine on Aotearoa. It was going to be a lot more simple. I knew Aotearoa and had low amount of zones, so that's where I wanted to set up my grind. So I did. And after weeks of hunting and shooting and harvesting and seeing that my grind was going to 500, 1,000, 1,500 kills, and seeing all the content creators and some community members getting it under 500 and getting a 600 kill grind, I was like, wow, this is going to have to happen soon, but where's mine? So by the time I got to 2,500 kills, I was like, is this ever going to happen? And I remember being really late at night, and I said, I'm going to do a couple more runs, and then I'm going to bed. And sure enough, on one of my last runs of the night, I at the Twin Lakes in Tararoa. I look down, and what do I see is this big, massive yellow great one fallow deer. And it was beautiful, and I was like, whoa. And it was the fabled golden, except what I really wanted was the Irish elk rack. That was my favorite all along, seeing it early access and seeing Jaxie Beard show it on the EW stream. I was like, I want that one. But sure enough, it was the spoon rack. The one rack that I didn't want, actually, the Mickey Mouse rack and stuff. So, of course, I take my time. I stock up on them. I harvest them. You hear the music, and it's great. And I get it, and I'm like, okay, great. Now what? And I thought to myself, you know what? I have my red deer in a multi-mount. I want my fallow deers in a multi-mount. So my intention was that I wanted 3 fallow great ones. And hopefully get like different racks and different variations, different colors and stuff. And so I started my next grind. And this one was really funny to me. It was 94 kills. I was so surprised when I saw him. It was a fabled, painted big rack. And I was like, wow. And it was on the coast. It was beautiful. My wife was sitting beside me, and she saw me get so excited. And I said, I just can't believe that, I spent over a month and a half trying to get the first one, and this one's really coming 2 or 3 days later. So I was so excited, harvested him, put him in the lodge. My third fallow great one was 577 kills later, and I was like so excited. I was like, yes, he spawned. Here he is. I get to finish my huddle fallow, and I can put it away, and maybe I was so excited. I was like, I can go on to moose next, or maybe I'll try to get a whitetail great one. And I was just kind of disappointed with him because the spawn was a repeat. It was a clone. It was another fabled painted big rack. And I was just like, what are the odds that 2 in a row, when there's 4 different rack types, 5 different fur types, a 1 in 20 chance to get the combination you want, and that 1 in 20 chance happened twice in a row that it was the same exact one. So I was a little disappointed. Happy to get another great one. I now had 4, but I decided, you know what? I got to keep going. So that's where I decided I was going to do a 4th grind to really hopefully get something that was a little different and finish my huddle fallow. So I plugged away on my 4th grind for fallow great one to finish my huddle mount. And this one was 653 kills later on the river. Really great zone, really good. You can overlook them and see the mountain in Tararoa. It was just beautiful. And sure enough, it was the Mocha saw blade rack. Probably my second favorite rack. Amazing and great fur variation. I was so excited to get him. I actually have video where I followed him to his feed zone, was watching him there too. I took my time with it because I figured it was going to be my last fallow one before I went on to other great one types that I wanted to grind for. So I harvested him. I went straight to my lodge, put him in the fallow great one mount for the fallow huddle, and I was so excited. It was so great. And that's how I finished the multi-mount for fallow great ones. But I have one more fallow great one, and that's a whole nother funny story as well. So my 5th and final great one came by surprise, but I guess it really wasn't surprising because I had a grind going. But I was in the middle of my whitetail and moose grind, but the moose grind was really kicking my bum. I was about 2,000 kills in. I was down to my last 6 to 10 herds. I was doing the 1 minute trick a lot. Time resets, cash needed for the ammo for the 300 Magnum. It was just costing me money, and I was worried I didn't have enough cash flow to cover any rares that I would get, diamonds that I want the taxidermy. And then if the great one showed up, heaven forbid, I wouldn't have enough money for that as well. So I would go back and do a few rotations on my fallow grind, knowing that I can get about 10 to 12 kills each rotation. Each kill was going to be about 1,000 plus. I was going to make 12 to 15,000 every run. So that's how I was keeping my cash going. And 260 kills in, and this guy shows up. And I'm like, wow. And it was my favorite rack, the one that I really wanted from the beginning, and I really wasn't trying to get him. So I'm glad that it was a bookend for that. It was a Fable Golden again, which is the same as my first great one, but it kind of worked out, and I was happy to add him to the lodge. My Great One Whitetail grind, I started on Reventuli Coast because Lady Legend was having such good luck there. I did about 100 and some kills, and I just wasn't enjoying it. It didn't keep me entertained. But I decided I want to switch it to Leighton Lakes. I love Leighton Lakes. It was my first map that I played. I grew up in Canada, so it reminded me of home. Some of the animals we do have here in Canada and where I'm at, like whitetail deer, they're in my backyard all the time. And moose as well and stuff. So Leighton just holds apart. So I started my grind there. I knew they were all on the left side of the map and on the west side. And I decided I'm going to do it there. So I started to manage it down. It was taking some time because I was learning about respawns and how whitetail work. And again, being on console, I can only shoot 1 or 2 per zone. And I was 477 kills in. I didn't even kill all my stacked animals yet. I had over 10 to 13 stacked diamonds on my map. And that's when this great one showed up, and it was awesome. I was so excited for it. I was one random diamond in that I shot a level 2 that made diamond, and that was by accident. I shot a troll that was in my main herds, but I was so happy to get this guy, and I moved back onto my moose grind to focus on that. I do plan to go back and get 2 more Great One whitetail, but right now that wasn't the focus of my next grind. My latest Great One and my 9th and final Great One is the moose. That has been a grind and a half. I started my Medved grind a few months ago, probably 3-4 months ago, and I was 2,000 deep, like I said, and it was going. I was getting some diamonds. I was getting some trolls. Then I wasn't getting some consistency with it. I was losing faith in it, and I was just like having a rough go. But I really wanted to start filling out my lodge with diamonds and trophies from all animals. So I know I overplayed my maps a lot. I have some videos on that too, about like where I found diamonds, what some initial spawns you can find on your maps, how many rares you can expect per map, and diamonds. So I knew that if I reset my map, reset my game and press new game, that I would be resetting all my grinds, but I'd have to start over again. So about 3 weeks ago, I started a Great One Moose grind again on Medved from scratch. And I did some things a little differently on this grind. I began using herd management more from a weight perspective versus rating. So I was really trying to drive my herd down to level 2s instead of the level 3s that look like 2s. I really was stacking max weight level animals versus diamond potential max level, and it works so well. And I do have a video on herd management on that. But 378 kills in, this one was probably the easiest grind I've ever done. And he shows up to get my my last Great One. Now I'm currently working on a Great One Bear, so hopefully I'll get to add number 10 and then move on to the tar. I really thank you guys for tuning into the video, listening to my stories. If you like these stories, please like and subscribe, and maybe comment what your favorite story was from your favorite Great One that you've ever received, if you ever got one. But until next time, thank you again.